everyone, my name is Tomco, and today I'm showing you how to make a multi-item sorter. It's a pretty bold claim to make, but I think this is the best in Minecraft. Taking a look at the front, it doesn't look like anything too special, but it's when I show you the redstone that things get crazy. So instead of a regular item sorter, this thing can have multiple items per chest. But before we do anything, make sure to turn it on. And this is the only downside of this entire thing. It is a little bit noisy. But once it's on, we can put things that we want to be sorted in. So I'm just putting 7 dust and 4 glass. But what we should be able to see is that our redstone should end up in this chest, which it does. And of course, we can also check our glass, which should be making its way. Look at that, perfect timing. But the best thing isn't how it sorts items, it's how simple, cheap, and easy this thing is to build. Let me show you the redstone. If I fly around it, this is it. This is everything to it. And it is almost 2 blocks wide, and it sorts 44 double chests and uses less than 22 hoppers. I love this thing so much. If I were to replace one of these hoppers with a red concrete block, let me just show you how it works. So if you follow that red block, you can see it literally goes past every single double chest, and what it's doing is it's checking if there's a space available for the item which is holding. For all these hoppers, they are going to hold one item individually, and all these chests, well, if I look over here, they are going to be full to the brim with no empty slots. But essentially, if the item in the hopper can make its way into the chest, it will. But if it can't, it will carry on going around the machine until it can either find a space or get dumped out in the output. You can take it all the way down to 3 blocks, and I believe this one is a 4 blocks wide version. But if 44 double chests wasn't enough for you, you could also have 88 by literally building this thing back to back. And then if 88 chests weren't enough for you, you could also have whatever this is, which is 44 times 3. That's a lot of chests, but I won't be showing you how to do this and this design. I'll instead be leaving a word download for this in the description. Anyways, I think I've bragged enough about this thing. It's time for me to show you how to build it. Alright, so no matter what, you're going to need a 4 blocks wide area, and you're also going to need 6 blocks of empty space above the floor. When it comes to how long you can make this thing, the maximum amount of length you can have is 11 blocks. Before you can expand it, obviously, but the max you can have is 11, and the minimum you could have is like 3 double chests, I believe it is. But here I have a 7 double chest version, and that's going to take up 11 blocks. So basically, count how many silos or double chests you want to have, and add 4 blocks onto that, and that will give you your length. I really hope I did my maths right. So also, these bottom row double chests over here, they represent the bottom row of double chests on the actual design. So I suggest you get these in place, or at least base it off this, so you don't build it on the wrong place. And basically, these are directly in the center of the thing, right to the front, and 1 block in the air. So use this to get it in the right place. And so for the actual redstone, this is everything you're going to need. Like, it's pretty crazy. And then per 1 silo of double chests, you're also going to need all of this. So essentially, get 1 of everything in this box, and then times whatever's in this box by how many double chests you want. Or at least how many columns of double chests you want. So over here, I have 11 columns of double chests. That means I need to get 11 amounts of this box. So for example, 22 pistons. But don't forget, you're also going to need stuff to put in the double chests themselves. I need iron to be sorted, so get yourself an iron ore block. But you're also going to get yourself a handful of these filler blocks. And these need to be renamed, and once you've used them, make sure you throw them away because you don't want them to end up in your storage system. But anyways, once you got all that, we can start the tutorial. Alright, so the very first thing you want to do is you want to come round to the back, and then where you have these double chests over here, you want to go to the floor, and you want to place a line of pistons directly behind them. So something like that. So let's say you had 7 columns of double chest. You're going to need 7 pistons, all looking like this. You then will come round to the front. You then want to go over to the left side, and you want to add in an extra piston just to the left, like that. So fly it from the top, it should look something like this. So you then want to come back round to the back. You want to place in 5 blocks on top of these pistons. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another one on top of that, which makes it 6 in total. Destroy all of these. You then want to stand on these pistons, look up, and you want to place the piston like this. Now there should be 4 blocks in between this piston and this piston. So if I were to count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 blocks like this. You then to do a similar thing, but instead of adding an extra one on the end, just do it so it goes with all the columns of chests. So extend this line all the way for when you have a chest below it. So it looks like that. And now we can temporarily remove these double chests. So this is still the front, and what you want to do, you want to come up to the top where you just place these pistons. You want to come all the way to the right, and this one, you want to place a torch on the side of this piston with a regular piston directly below that torch, so it should turn on. You then place another torch on the side of this piston, a block on top of this torch, a torch on the side of this block, like so. Then place a solid block next to this piston. Get yourself a repeater out, and you want to set this repeater to 3 ticks. You then take your slabs out. You place the slab in front of this, and you put dust on top of that. And this is what your clock is going to do. So this is going to be the clock that essentially does the entire sorting bit. But for now, place the lever on top of this block, and this is going to be the input block. So if you want to turn it off, you flick this lever down, and if you want it on, you flick it up. And obviously you can move this lever simply by attaching a redstone line into this block, but for now, I just think it's easier to just leave the lever here. But make sure that it's off for now. Then come back round to the back, and where you have these slabs, you want to continue it all the way to the end of your pistons. So like this, all the way over here. You then want to run dust along every single one of them, like so. And then at the end over here, you want to kind of do a little L shape. So you want to put 2 blocks in here, 1 block to the right, so it looks like this from above. And then on this block, you want to place a redstone repeater, set that to 2 ticks, and you want to put dust on top of both of them blocks. Then get yourself another regular piston out, and you want to place it facing into your other pistons, or to the right if you're looking at it from the front. So then looking at it from the front, you want to come to the right again, you want to come to the very edge of these pistons, you want to place a block here, and then you want to place another block to the right. Then on here, you want to place in a regular piston, like so, going to the left. So these outside pistons over here, this is what's going to actually push the hoppers around in a clock. And these bottom layer and top layer pistons, they're going to be pushing it up and down. If I have to turn this one on, you can kind of see what they all do. So as you can see, the side pistons, they're the ones that spin it in a circle. The bottom and the top, they're the ones that push it up and down, making it so all the hoppers can reach all the double chests. And so speaking of hoppers, it's actually time to get your hoppers in place. Now what you want to do is, first of all, you want to get a load of temporary blocks. You want to come round to the front, you want to place one here, and do a line of temporary blocks going all the way to the left, or to the edge of your pistons. You come 2 blocks down, and then you want to do the same thing going all the way to the right, like that. So you have this kind of shape. And obviously, depending on how big you made it, depends on how long this is going to be. But you then want to come round to the back. You want to remove this block over here. Then every single temporary block you've just placed, you want to place in a hopper, but make sure the hopper is facing into the block. So if I were to place a hopper on this block, as you can see, facing into the block. So hopper, 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 and hopper. And of course, do the same thing, but below it, so hopper, 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 hopper. That's the most amount of times I've ever said the word hopper. Then you can come back around to the front, and you can remove these temporary blocks, revealing all the hopper's little, what do you even call them? Like ends? I don't know. But then you want to come up over here. You want to place 2 more temporary blocks here and here. Place more hoppers going into them like so. So it looks something like this. Then over on this side, you want to place in 2 temporary blocks here. And hoppers going into them like that. So if I were to stand here from the front, this is what it looks like. Make sure you get this in place. Then obviously, depending on how big you made it, the middle part will just be stretched or shortened. You then want to fill this gap over here with any blocks. Now you could do what I did over here, use glass, but the thing is, you'll be able to see these behind the chests. So if I have to come around over here, you can kind of see that you can see these hoppers and the blocks behind these double chests. So basically, you can use any blocks, but I just typically like to use grey concrete because it blends in with the hoppers and doesn't look so outstanding, is that the right word? But yeah, you can use whatever blocks you want, but I'm going to be using concrete because I think it looks nicest. Now it looks like this from the front, but what you want to do is to come back around to the back, and this very right block over here, you want to replace that with an observer. So you want to crouch, you want to place an observer on this hopper, so it's facing backwards like this, but make sure the dot is facing the back. So where you have this observer, you then want to come 2 blocks up from the floor, so 1, 2, and place a dust on top of this block. You're going to place an observer facing downwards to the right of it. If I was to like crouch and place an observer like that, it should be facing downwards. You then want to put a 3-layer repeater on top of this observer, just like so. So what this does is when this entire thing gets pushed down, it will send a signal through this observer, which will then send all of these pistons to push it back up. And so now you can go ahead and place in dust behind every single one of these pistons, like so. And I have just noticed where you have these hoppers before, you actually want to remove the top one, and you want to move it down a block. I accidentally got them 1 block too high, I apologise. But now it should look like this from the front. You then come all the way to the right and place a block on top of this piston, just on top of that, you want to put a block behind this and a button on top of this block. Now this should redirect this redstone so it doesn't affect these hoppers over here. So now that should be all the weird like hopper chains done. So if you flick this, we should see that it all moves around in a weird circly thing, just like this. It is very important that it looks exactly like this with all the correct timings, otherwise the storage system will probably not work. But if it's looking like this, you are doing a great job so far. And the good thing is, you cannot break it no matter how hard you try to. But then you want to come back around to the back again, where you have this line of redstone dust. You want to place a 3-tiller repeater coming away from it. You then put 2 blocks of dust in front of this like so. You want to put this going into a block. And then you want to put a torch on the side of this block, just like so. And then you want to crouch and you want to place a hopper going into this hopper, so it looks like this. You then just get a double chest out, you want to place a chest on top of this hopper, like so. And then you want to place a chest on top of this chest. So this bottom one's going to be your input chest, and this top one's going to be your output chest. So what will happen is stuff from this chest will enter this hopper. This torch will lock this hopper, meaning it can't go into that hopper, but then occasionally it will blink. And this will let one item go into this hopper. Then these hoppers will get pushed all the way around. They'll be sorted into the chest, and if they don't sort into anything, we'll make it all the way back around here again, where this piston will push it down and it will go into this chest. And by the way, you can actually move these chests. You can literally just link up a hopper line into this hopper and take out a hopper line coming from where this double chest is. But to be honest with you, I think the location of them being here is ideal anyways. So then you want to come round to the back and you want to come down to this hopper again. You want to place a block directly behind this. You want to place a lever on this block, and you want to make sure that this lever is on, like so. You can check this by having a dust next to it. Make sure this is turned on. You then want to come round to the side. You want to come up 2 blocks, like this. You want to place in dust here. You want to come around, and you want to place the lever over here. Once again, make sure this lever is on. Now you may be wondering why we've just done that, and this is basically so when these hoppers are getting pushed up, the items stay inside of the hoppers and they don't all move down to the bottom hopper. Obviously that would be very bad if we're trying to have 1 item per hopper and they all just kind of get like stuck in an endless loop going down and down and down. Because it's essentially like a really weird conveyor belt. But powering this redstone dust powers both of these hoppers, essentially stopping them from like moving their items. So your silos or columns are going to look something like this. You're going to have double chests here, 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 and here. And then you want to repeat this for all the top pistons you have. Obviously, I'm making it 7 columns long, so I know to repeat this another 6 times. But essentially, all you have to do is place in all of your double chests. So the last layer for me, and now it looks something like this. So just to make sure, I'd recommend you test everything again. So look round to the back. Make sure it's all still spinning perfectly, which it is, so we can turn that off and move on. Now you have the task of actually sorting your items you want to be sorted, but I'm going to show you how to do it. However, I'm not going to be doing it for every single double chest. You will have to do that yourself, I'm afraid. Right, so what do I want to sort? Alright, let me sort some wall blocks. Then I'm going to get myself some filler blocks to make sure that this double chest is full. So basically how this works is you want every single slot in here to have something in it. So let's say I'm sorting all these colors of wool. However, I don't want to fill up a whole double chest with like a row of orange wool. I'm literally just going to be putting in 1 block of these walls because I don't think I'm going to get much of it. You can have more than 1 slot. Let's say for some reason you had an insane amount of orange wool that you decide to do something like this. That's fine, you can do that, but make sure that all these empty slots, once you've done putting in your items you want to be filtered, you then fill them in with a filler block. So essentially you want to fill up this like double chest with every single item you want to get sorted, then fill in all the spaces with these filler blocks. And so once again, I'm going to go show you some examples. For example, this is what my crafting table storage looks like, or my wood. Like you can see all these filler blocks, and this is what I want to be sorted. Because I'm planning on going to get more planks than I am ladders, I added more space for planks because obviously they can only go up to a stack. Or like for a block which I know I'm going to get absolute loads of, dirt, I've given myself loads of grass and loads of dirt blocks, so I don't fill it up. And then if you really want to do, you could also do something like this, where I've just filled up an entire double chest full of 1 item because I think I'm going to get loads of it. So for some reason, I'm getting loads of packed ice here. Now what's also really important is when you're taking items out of these, you want to make sure that you always leave one item back. So you can't just take the entirety of this redstone just like so. Make sure you at least put one back in so it can still be sorted. Otherwise, this slot will just get filled up by any random junk you put into the input chest. But anyways, now you have to do the same thing what we've done here, hopefully way better, since this is a really weird looking like storage thing. But you want to do this to every single one of these double chests like so. Don't do it to these two, since these are your input and output. Do it to all of these ones though. Once you've filled up all these double chests with stuff that you want sorted, what I like to do is I like to then find an item which I haven't used for sorting. Let's say for some reason you decided to not include any lowstones. They're a bit expensive, but I would then put a lowstone into this double chest, I'll turn it on, and you should expect this lowstone to end up in this output chest. And if that happens, you know you've done a good job. Obviously, you don't have to do that, I just like to check it. But obviously, once you have actually done all these double chests, that is your storage system, like, done. The redstone is all done. It was that easy. Now all that's left for you to do is to decorate this thing. So I'm literally just going to be decorate this thing with quartz block, but you want to bear in mind that on these top double chests over here, you're going to have to place in a block that isn't solid, otherwise you would just not be able to open the double chest. I'm actually going to move this lever as well, just to the front, so I can turn it off and on better. I'm literally going to be doing that by adding a repeater like so, then just turn it back on, and it stops it all. Then obviously you can add item frames to the front of these, you can add signs if you want to know how to identify them, or you could replace them all with shulker boxes if you really want to. But no matter what you do, that should be your storage system all done. Obviously if you want to expand this thing, you have the world download for all the different types of these things, so you could add another one like to the right of it, or you could add like 4 more down there if you really wanted to go crazy, but they're completely up to you. Anyways, that is the tutorial done. Thank you all very much for watching. Any questions, please do be sure to let me know down in the comments, and I will try my best to answer them. But that's all from me, and I'll see you all later.